So once I have all of those, I will give you some instructions. Hey.
Alright, so we found out we have to do everybody already,
Okay.
rather than just summatives.
Okay.
I think it's a new state thing, so. And I only did it on what you put on your PGP, but you put something from every domain, so.
Oh, why did I do that?
I don't know. Some people did, and some people
Okay.
had 0 on it, which is okay, but calculate into the final, so.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, this also wasn't a Google Classroom assignment.
That's fine. Just throw it in the basket. I'll get it back to you today. I hadn't asked for it before, so I usually do the Google Classroom if like I want you to do it before you come to class. So now that there's less of y'all here, it's easier for me to grade them and get them back to you. So. I don't know whose paper this is.
Which one?
I don't know. Somebody just turned one in without a name on it.
Ended me.
No, it's not you. Okay, so that one's you. You just did it twice. Fine. Okay, I think we've got all the quizzes in. So, first thing I want you guys to practice today is, well, I do want this 137 turned in. I think most of you already just turned it in a second ago. I didn't ask you to do that last class or anything. It's not in Google Classroom. Just give me the hard copy and I can get it graded and back to you today. Especially close to the AP exam, I don't want to try to keep any resources from you, just in case that's one of the things you need to look over. Okay, but the first one I'd like you to look at, so I guess if you don't have 137 finished, which I would be surprised if you didn't, it is a pretty quick one. Finish that up and turn it in. Then I'd like you to look at 140, which is where we're going to review Riemann sums. So I'm going to look at one of these with you, just as a quick little friendly reminder, and maybe some suggestions on how you should proceed, just suggestions. And then I've got 10 points closer, part 4, where I suggest you review these 5 topics: average rate of change and average value, related rates, total distance traveled, continuity, and that relationship between position function, velocity function, and acceleration function. So I would say you're probably already in good shape with 2 of those 5, but the others you probably want to practice. So if you've been keeping up with those, if you can check this one off your list today while you're in class, then that should put you at least 40 points guaranteed for your AP exam. Okay, So let's go ahead and look at one of these Riemann sum questions, just kind of as a quick little reminder. So if we read all the way through this, remember Riemann sums is just a way to estimate the area under a curve. So I don't know that I'd recommend this, but you could always make a little graph and just plot these points. You could plot the point 0, 2, 1, 3, 2, 3, 3, 5, 4, 4, etc. And that would give you a visual if that's easier for you. But at the end of this, and in the directions, there's only a few things that I'm really concerned about. One is, we need 4 subintervals. They want them to be equal length. Sometimes they're equal length, sometimes they're not. And I guess because there's 4 subintervals, I'm going to make 2, 3, 4 blanks to come up with my answer. And Riemann sums, again, are just a way to estimate area under a curve by adding up rectangles. But we had left Riemann sums, midpoint Riemann sums, and right Riemann sums. And there's trapezoidal sums. I think like 1 or 2 of the questions on this are about trapezoidal. So this one wants us to use left Riemann sums. So one thing I would suggest that you do, if you need this to be cut into 4 pieces, I know you guys don't get to use tables as much as some other stuff, but I would suggest you kind of section them off. Like here's one, first rectangle, second rectangle, third, okay, fourth, so I did not divide those up very good, did I? Okay, so if I'm trying to travel from 0 to 8 over 4, I guess each one would need to have a width of 2. So 0 to 2 would be the first one, 2 to 4 would be the second rectangle, 4 to 6 would be the third, and 6 to 8 would be the fourth. So even if you're not using colors, I think it would be a mistake not to kind of section off the 4 rectangles you're trying to look at. And then to go from 0 to 2, this guy has a width of 2. From 2 to 4, this guy has a width of 2. 4 to 6 has a width of 2. 6 to 8 has a width of 2. Which makes sense because they said these are supposed to be of equal length. Or equal width, sorry, equal width. The length is what we need to be careful about. Now, since it says left Riemann sum, we should be taking the y value at the leftmost x value. So here this would be 2 for the gray rectangle. The left x-most value for my red rectangle would be 3. 4 would be the y value for the left x-most value for the third rectangle. And then 0 looks to be the leftmost value from the leftmost x value, 0. So in the end, the answer to this one comes from 4 plus 6 plus 8. So 10 plus 8 should be 18. So that's how most of these questions are. You're just adding up a couple rectangle areas, but you need to make sure you're pulling the values from the correct spot. So again, I took the left values because it said left Riemann sum. If it had said a right Riemann sum, I would be taking 3, 4, 0, and 5, the rightmost y values for each rectangle. And midpoint, of course, I would take the middle ones, 3, 5, 1, and 2. Okay, any questions about that one? I don't think many of these are very tricky on this one. I did work through this last week, and I don't remember anything standing out as being much more difficult, except maybe the trapezoidal sums, just because their areas are a touch harder, I guess. But go ahead and find blank 2 and work through that. So I know this is a couple pages here, but in the end, it's really only 12 questions because it's 3 questions per page. So if you would, please make sure you work through that. Riemann sums absolutely 100% will be on your AP exam. And I'm 100% positive that you can do these, but if you don't practice them a little bit, then you might be pulling the incorrect values. So hopefully this practice will solidify that. So if you would, please finish that up. Of course, you guys are welcome to check, work together. We've got lots of empty space today. If you guys want to make some groups or working groups, that is perfectly fine if you want to move around. And then finally, or not finally, but after that, please try to work through these 5 question types on 10-point closer part 4. Again, some of these should take some time. Some of these you probably just need a quick reminder on. I would think that the total distance traveled, you probably shouldn't need to spend more than a couple minutes on that. I think you're going to remember what that is if you don't remember it right away. Versus related rates. Related rates, you probably need to go and practice at least a couple of those before you can feel confident that you can check it off.
Right.
So.
So you just add everything on the right. Except that one.
All right, and then lastly, we will have one last mini quiz. And by the way, we won't have too many more grades. I think we might have a couple homework assignments after the AP exam, but not much. Not much that's going to move your grades much one way or the other.
Should be 23.
So, last mini quiz. It's under the upcoming assessments, what you might want to look over. Something you should have already gone through, but if you need to review it for the mini quiz, then make sure that you do, please. And the Delta Math corrections, if you have not done that yet, as I said, I don't really care when you do that, as long as it's before the AP exam. So, especially since you guys could miss 1 or 2 days this week, if you're out for other AP exams, you need to make sure that you have your, whatever you're hoping to get out of your grade on that from corrections has to be done by our AP exam next week. So, after that, no going back to it. Or you can go back to it, but just not for your grade. Okay, any questions about today's assignment? Okay, I'm gonna grade these and then I'll come around and see if I can help.
Because the area is so the area of the shopping. Oh, because you go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because that's where it ends and also where this starts. So it ends over there, and then that's when. So you could basically split it for different ways. Like this part ends, like this is the first end, this is the second end, but it's also where this end starts and this.
139.
I don't think you subtract. Oh, let me check the formula. Yeah, you add. So these are the 2 ones and this is the.
So you won't use the first one, which is -1, since it's 5. It's 5 rectangles, and that's 5 points between, so it's just a width of 1 for each. So you use it right, so you skip bigger ones, you get a 0, and you just plug it into here.
You need to put in 1, and plug in
2,
2,
3,
4.
3, 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's like 7.
I haven't gotten to that one yet.
Okay. So, let's see if it's that actual answer. Right.
Whoops.
Wait, what'd y'all get for 6?
It's 45.
Or what'd y'all get for 5?
Yeah, because they're not equal. Because that one's gonna be equal. This one is 2. This one is 1. This one is 3. So
2 is 8 plus
3 and then 4.
4. Wait.
4.
Is it 1 for the second one?
Yeah, 1 for the second one because it goes into 1, 3, and 4. And then 40. So that would be like. No, 119, half of 119. So it's like 54.5. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna pass back these quizzes today. Obviously, if you missed one of these, you should make sure you understand why. Also on today's, I worked one of these questions wrong the first time, so my grading on here is kind of messy. So you may have fell under the same trap as I did, but one of them didn't ask for the minimum value, it asked for what X value did the minimum occur at. So,
What, Mr. Thompson? How many more mini quizzes do we have?
this one, next class. Even though we have 2 more classes, no we don't, because it's a B week. Next time's the last time I see you before the AP exam, so.
Friday?
Friday's a B day.
Oh, yeah.
Now, some of you guys got it right, and based on your work, it might have been a little bit lucky, so. Make sure you're trying to take something out of those. Okay, has anyone found anything from the circuit that I can help with? Any of the questions you've thought were harder than the others? No questions yet? Okay. As you find those, please just let me know. I'm gonna leave the agenda up so y'all can know what to move on, remember what to move on to after this, but yeah. Yeah. Number 7? 10? Okay, is your number 10? This one?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so a car accelerates from t equals 0 seconds to t equals 10 seconds, and the following data is recurred. If the velocity at the start of this is 2 meters per second, use a right-Riemann sum with 5 subintervals indicated by the table to approximate the value of the velocity at t equals 10. Okay, so 5 subintervals. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This just kind of helps me remember what I need to get. I'm going to go ahead and finish this whole question, but I suspect that maybe while you're asking this one is because you didn't use this information. At the start, it starts at a value of 2. So we know where it's at 2, and then the area under the curve, the stuff that this Riemann sum is approximating, tells us how it changes. So this one is supposed to be, okay, so 5 subintervals. So again, I really think you should kind of box those off so you can visually see the 5, since sometimes you just pull from wrong places. It makes it a little less likely to happen. Okay, and then for the gray one, to go from 0 to 2, he has a width of 2. My red one, from 2 to 5, has a width of 3. My black rectangle goes my purple rectangle goes from 5 to 6, so he has a width of 1. My black rectangle goes from 6 to 7, so he has a width of 1. And my blue rectangle at the end goes from 7 to 10, so he has a width of 3. So some of these you've noticed, or should have noticed, that they say equal width, but they don't have to be equal width. Sometimes on the AP exam they're equal width, sometimes they're not. It really shouldn't change your approach at all. Okay, and then for the links, we need to make sure we're using right Riemann sums. So right most value, right most value, right most value, right most value, right most value. Using the rightmost x value to get that y value to get that length. So our answer should come from 2 plus 2 times 1 plus 6 times 3 plus 0 times 1 plus 1 times 1 plus 3 times 3. So we end up with 2032. That's what I'm getting. 32. But remember, if you want to know where something is at a specific time, the area under the curve just tells you how it changes. Make sure that you also know where it starts, if you want to know its actual position, or actual velocity in this case. Okay, anybody else got another one ready yet? Yeah. Number 12. Okay, I've got that as the bottom of the back page. Is that your 12? Okay. All right, so estimate the integral 1 to 9 natural log of x dx using a midpoint Riemann sum with n equals 2. So all that means is the n equals 2 means we want two subdivisions of equal width, since we don't have any other information. So if this is 1 to 9, from 1 to 9, we can see that he's traveling a horizontal distance of 8. So if I divide that into two equal subdivisions, each one's going to have a width of 4. You okay with that part? That the width is 4, okay. Then the length of each one, so here's the function, natural log of x. So the length is going to be the value from the x-axis to the function at that x value. So I'm starting off at 1, I'm going a width of, oh, well, if I have a midpoint, this is like x values 1 to 5, that's a distance of 4, and this is from x equals 5 to x equals 9, that gives it a width of 4 also. So this guy's midpoint is going to come from when x equals 3 in that function. Over here, from 5 to 9, in the midpoint would be when x is 7. So I'm going to plug that into the function. Okay, and then so here's where my answer is going to come from. I've got, I'm going to just factor out the 4, and that's going to be behind a natural log of 3 plus a natural log of 7. Now, this is the last question in the circuit, so that gives you a little bit of a hint, but we recently just did this in my pre-cal classes. You should, and they do, I have seen this show up on the AP exam, not a ton, but sometimes, you should be able to condense this. So, if you have two of the same type of logarithm, both natural logs, if they're separated by addition, you can multiply those two things to condense them. And if they had been separated by subtraction, you could condense them with division. So I would end up with 4 natural log of 21. Okay, anything else about this one while it's still up? Okay. Okay, I don't mind keep going on asking questions. It just seems like y'all didn't have any others yet. Anything else on the circuit at this time? Okay. I'll bug you one more time, and of course y'all can ask me individually anytime today. Going okay?
Yeah, maybe.
All finished?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Anything I can help with?
I think we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
I like that. You like OneNote? That's what I use for all of our stuff too. Do you save all your stuff in little binders over there?
Yes.
Yeah. You need help with anything math related?
I think maybe.
This has to be the quietest this class has been all year.
It's because Elisa and Luna are here for me to talk to.
You're putting it all on those two?
Well, no, I'm putting it on myself because I talk to them. And Christian isn't here. So that's a bit.
Mr. Thompson, did you hear about what happened with Drake and Kendrick?
Did I hear what happened with them?
No? Yeah, do you know them?
I've never met them, no.
It's crazy.
Have you
You
met
listen
them?
to them?
You know them?
No.
Oh, okay.
You listen to them, don't you?
Listen to who?
Drake and Kendrick?